what the Oversight Committee shall have duty of, and I'll just read those quickly through. We would replace the authority that the section gave to us from section 34 to, in fact, 36. So the duties, of course, are monitoring and reviewing the performance of the functions of the Integrity Commission. That's the first duty. The second is reporting to both houses of Parliament on any matter relating to the performance of the functions of the Integrity Commission. Third, reviewing the annual report and any other report of the Commission and submitting recommendations in relation thereto to both houses of Parliament. D, assessing the effectiveness of the Integrity Commission and the appropriateness of its procedures. And E, and this is where the amendment now fits in, convening and considering a report submitted to Parliament under Section 34 of the Integrity Commissions Act. In fact, Section 34 is silent in terms of any guidance to the Oversight, or even any reference to the Oversight Committee. But Section 36 has the full instruction and guidance as to how the report is to be treated and what the role of the Oversight Committee is in relation to that report. So just for good order, the committee is being advised of this amendment for the way forward. The other point that I wanted to raise in relation to this is the interpretation, in fact, of the referring of reports to the committee. And just to set the record straight, members, that the Parliament refers the reports to the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee deals with these reports in terms of referrals. In the last year, we are now getting 7 referrals. The 7 referrals we have before us today, and we're going to be dealing with them. I say nothing more. I just indicate that we meet to deal with reports that are referred to us. And so the referrals today represent those that have been put before us in the last year. Members, I think it is also important for us to make it very clear to all and sundry that this committee has not just the authority and the approbation of the Parliament of the land, but this committee's function is to do just one thing: to ensure that the integrity of the operations of this democracy that we love so much is held and preserved. We have no desire or intention whatsoever to weaken institutions that we create. And it has to be recalled that it is we who create the institutions of support for not just integrity, but many other aspects of national life. And our job, as it is now, to review and to make recommendations are only in relation to strengthening the capacity of the institutions to serve the purpose for which it is designated, to protect the rights of the citizens and individuals within the country and organizations and institutions, and also to enable the fullest expression of equity and justice and transparency that is possible. So we created the Act, we provided the legal frame for the actions of the institutions that we established, and we also have the responsibility to review. And in this instance, every 5 years, the acts which give efficacy to the IC, and to do it in a manner that enables the strengthening. And it is not the view of an individual that prevails. It is not the view of an organization that prevails. It's a collective view of this committee that prevails. And it is only correct, I think, that we should not preempt the outcomes of the committee and to behave in manners and to assume postures that may in themselves be deleterious to the best and most effective outcomes from this committee. But we are going to always be guided by what is right. We are always going to be guided by that which is fair. We are always going to be guided by that which is honest. And we are always going to be guided by that which ensures that the fullest rights of our people are protected at all times, and that where there are infractions of the laws and rules, they are prosecuted to the highest and best level. And those are the conditions that I embrace as chairman of this committee. And I want it to be very clear to the world that I will not preside over any committee, this one or any other, that will in any way derogate the rights of the people of Jamaica and or diminish the capacity of institutions to prosecute in favor of honesty, integrity, and justice.
Chairman, may I say something here? You mentioned about protecting the rights of the citizens of this country. I would interpret that to mean that you also want to protect the rights of the people of this country to know the truth. And when questions are asked so that the people of Jamaica can be educated, you don't make a ruling to suppress the question that is asked. You mentioned the responsibility and the duty of this Oversight Committee, but if you noticed, the most recent statement from the chairman of the Commission gave the impression that they're not answerable to the Parliament. Made it clear that the commissioners were appointed by the Governor General, and that the directors were appointed by the Governor General on the recommendation of the commissioners. My interpretation of that statement is to say to us here, we can go to hell. They're not answerable to us, they can't do anything. We're not whether we're oversight it or no, it doesn't matter to them at all. But when I said the issue of the people of Jamaica knowing the truth, the last time we were here, I asked the director if there were anyone on the team, any senior directorate, a member of the senior directorate, that was or were politically exposed, ruling that I was going on the wrong road, I shouldn't follow that line of question. You didn't give a reason. Can I ask you the reason why you make that ruling that I shouldn't follow that line of question? Question I believe that was relevant.
Well, member, first of all, I think that one of the things that we want to ensure is that we are not pejorative. We don't make assumptions, and we use this committee as a means of, as you say, ferret the truth, but not in a manner also that would be disruptive and destructive to any individual in the process of so doing. I think that what we want to do is to enable everyone to feel that whatever comes out of this committee is going to be fair and just, and that it will inure to the highest level of protection of the rights of everyone.
What you said, there should be an assumption or disruptive to a person, maybe a person's feeling. I asked specifically, let me finish. No. I have a right to speak just as you are any other member. As long as I'm I asked the question of the director. Again, I stated whether there anyone in his team that was a politically exposed person. You didn't allow us to get to it. You ruled me, then shouldn't go there. The issue I asked, and I mentioned then that Ryan Evans was a political advisor to the Dr. Peter Phillips, and I might go further, that he applied for a job.
Member.
No.
Please,
I have
member.
a right to ask the questions.
I did not say you don't have a right, but I'm trying to say, let's make this meeting what we want in fact to do. Not to be, this committee at this meeting is to receive the reports. I wish that we receive the reports and that we treated them appropriately.
Yes, but at the same meeting I asked the question, he refused to allow me to. Let me finish, Chairman. You can make a statement after. You made your statement, nobody interrupted you. I have the same right as you do. I stated then that Mr. Ryan Evans was a political advisor to Dr. Peter Phillips. I go further. He applied for a job, a senior position in the ministry. And I know for a fact that the ministry did not employ him because of his political activity and involvement. And therefore, this is something that the Jamaica ought to know, that a senior director at the Integrity Commission is a political activist. Don't tell me not to speak.
Member, I refuse to have you describe in any way any member who is not able to attend any sitting in the manner that you are.
Why didn't you allow him to answer them when he was here?
Please, that matter I will deal with at another level.
No, if I can't ask my question freely and you want to muzzle me, you can keep your meeting by yourself. You want to muzzle me and your rulings are what I call it. You freely with no basis.
Very well.
You want to keep the truth from Jamaica, and I'm not going to be a part of anything that you're trying to stifle the truth. Jamaica must know what we have dealing with these sensitive areas.
Member, there is decorum and there is respect in all of these matters. And I wish that you would preserve that.
You're telling me about decorum and respect?
Thank you very much.
I asked the question very decently and in no rough terms. So tell me about decorum and respect. I'm trying to get the truth. So is that disrespect?
Please.
It seems you want to encourage all form of things, and that's wrong, and it must not be exposed. I'm not going to be a party to anything that trumps the truth that Jamaica should know. You can keep your committee by yourself.
Member Robinson, I just wanted to be very clear that if members are disrespectful of the chair and this institution and they wish to take their leave of absence, let it be. But I'm not going to be the chairman who condones any sort of behavior of that type. And I think we have had enough of it.
Chairman, let's proceed with the agenda, please.
Member Robinson.
Well, I believe we are at... No, I'm just encouraging us to deal with the agenda. That matter was raised. It was, I think, appropriately dealt with before. I think you have responded appropriately. And I objected the last time the member raised it because you are impugning somebody's character, and I don't believe it is fair to do so. So I believe we should just proceed with, as outlined here, where we are on the agenda, Chairman.
Apologies for absence. Member Philip Paulwell, Member Mallow Fort will arrive. Should be late. Yeah. Any other apologies? The minutes are before you.
I move for confirmation of the minutes.
Confirmed by Member Robinson. Seconded. Member Chuck. Matters arising from the minutes. Any matters which member wishes to raise in relation to the minutes?
Chairman, there's a question I would like through the committee to be asked of the Integrity Commission. When they indicate that someone has been cited for an investigation into, I think the term is illicit enrichment, is the person, the subject of the investigation, notified by the Integrity Commission that they are being investigated for this? I'd like that question through the committee to be asked to the Integrity Commission.
Right. So that you would appreciate that this meeting, because we're receiving the reports and to fulfill the requirement of a 30-day response, the essence of the meeting is essentially about housekeeping matters. The request that you have, we certainly will pass it on to the Commission. I believe also that there was a statement relating to an amendment to a policy in relation to how these investigations are treated, especially when individuals are cited in any report, that the intention is now to bring them before the Commission ahead of the reports coming to the Parliament. So we will see that. The JSC, as you know, the other committee, has been looking at that, and I believe that your question is well placed, and we will forward to the Commission. Any other matter, Member Chuck?
You know, there are several matters within, but they can be dealt with differently as to how we proceed, you know, to deal with reports that come, but we can deal with on the substantive issues.
Very well, so I take it that we've been satisfied that the matters arising from the minutes have been properly aired. Can we then move to the reports that are before us? Members have copies of the report, yes? Just to indicate that the annual report is before us, and by statute, we are required to review it within 30 days and to report back to the Parliament. One of the things that we are all seized by is the fact that now we're getting several reports coming to us. In this instance, I think we have 7 reports, including, of course, the annual report. This is voluminous. It's a lot of work. I think also that the committee needs now to look very seriously at strengthening its capacity to review these reports on the timely basis that is required. And I intend to request technical support, whether by way of, you know, a technical advisor to the committee. I recall when I was chair of the PAAC earlier at another time, in fact, I requested for a consultant. And I think the consultant is still here with the PAAC. I would wish to do the same in relation to the Oversight Committee so that we can strengthen our capacity to review these voluminous reports ahead of the meetings that we have. So each member could be fully apprised as to what are the critical contents that require immediate attention by us. So today, I would put the first report, which is the annual general report, before the committee for consideration. Oh, I'm guided that the document is in fact truly voluminous, that it's a little over 100 pages, and they are still copying the annual report. If you have it, oh good, you have it on online. Oh great. So the link was sent. Okay.
Yes.
So I have my copy here, of course, and yeah.
That's 198.
Okay.
198 pages.
Okay, members, the report is before you. Any comments?
I think, Chairman, we could highlight, it's a very comprehensive document, over 200, nearly 200 pages, and it sets out all the different activities of the different departments, and also indicating, you know, the financial report and the number of reports that have been sent in during the period. It is to be noted, Chairman, that the government, or should I say the Integrity Commission, in its report is indicating that it is spending, or its budget is in the region of 1.4 to 1.5 billion. Now, this, Chairman, is a tidy sum out of the budget, and it shows the commitment of the Parliament that the Integrity Commission should act and give value for the money that is being spent by it. The real question that one would, just dealing with this, Chairman, how would the Parliament in particular know that it is getting value for the 1.4 to 1.5 billion? Is it, apart from the fact that most of it, yes, goes to staff and to investigation, but at the end of the day, we certainly would want to know that this is money well spent by the Parliament. It may be, Chairman, that in future reports that the Commission, maybe even on a quarterly basis, could indicate to the Parliament in its quarterly or periodic report to Parliament how many investigations it has undertaken. No, but no, apart from that, Chairman, because it also speaks about the time that it goes to the contracts and so on. But apart from the number of investigations that it has undertaken, we're talking about corruption. It would be useful to say, yes, you have undertaken 50, but did you get 200 complaints of corruption?
No, those details, Member Chuck, are
Remember, we did ask, yes.
I must admit, I perused through it.
No,
okay, no, but I have a, remember, at the last meeting when they were here, we did ask for that information, and they have provided it. It's before me.
What page is it?
They have gone through to indicate how many investigations they actually did, how many they have reported on, and it's been very comprehensive. It's been very comprehensive.
Good. So it was presented.
Yeah, but I understand that it was in fact circulated to members as well. And you have the schematics there.
Oh, it's no here.
Yes.
All right. So what I would say, Chairman, these are the things that we should highlight, because not every case that a complaint is made is necessarily a full report is made to Parliament. So that to the extent that you can see in any particular year over 100 where complaints or referrals were made, and then you can see how it has been closed, how many have been closed, how many have been referred internally, and how many have been closed on preliminary inquiry, not pursued. So what I'm saying, Chairman, is that when you look at over the period of the Integrity Commission between 2018, they had 478 legacy cases, and it went up, the total is 1,403 cases. It has fully investigated and report tabled 80 of the 1,403. It has referred internally, externally, 15, and referred after investigation report to be tabled, 79. But here, Chairman, closed and preliminary inquiry not pursued, 1,016. In other words, a significant number of complaints during the period, 1,016 out of 1,400, were preliminary, after preliminary investigation, they were not pursued. This, Chairman, is a very important fact to note to the Jamaican public at large. And the reason I'm saying so, it is important to see that the Commission, in fact, have investigated 1,400 cases during the period, and certainly in the last financial year, it had 112 that it investigated, fine, and at the end of the day, you know, during last year, it was able to close 122, which means legacy, some of our legacy. So the Commission is working. But more important, Chairman, more than 2/3, actually the figure is about close to 3/4 of the complaints that are made about corruption clearly have very little merit, so they were closed after preliminary investigation. And that is something, you see, Chairman, I think is important for the Jamaican public to know, because there's no doubt we have a lot of corruption, but not every time a person say there's a complaint about corruption that it has merit. In truth, Chairman, you have the vast majority of complaints are where there's a competitive bid for a contract. The one who gets it is happy. Those who don't get it say it's corruption, why they didn't get it. And they make complaints. And after the Commission investigates these complaints, it finds that the process was done properly and there's no question of corruption. And these are things, you see, that should be highlighted so that people who have these frivolous, speculative complaints don't harass the Integrity Commission. Because maybe, I'm not saying all 1,000 over the period did not have some inkling of, you know, corruption which could not be pursued. But it may be that quite a number of them made these complaints, speak in the public about corruption in this department, corruption of this member, when they're unmeritorious. But it highlights and strengthens the perception of corruption. And as you know, it is what goes into the media, what goes into the body that assesses us. Not actual corruption, but the perception of corruption. And this is where I think the Integrity Commission, in my view, has a very important role to reduce the perception of corruption, even while it is investigating the reality of corruption.
Certainly, I think, member, the analysis is case statistics that has been presented to us and our request is a good indicator of how the Commission has actually been pursuing its work. And to your very astute comment, in fact, with regards to the number of cases that may have come in that could be regarded as being frivolous. You know, it is there, and what it tells us is that there is good work being done in terms of identifying what are serious matters to be pursued and what are matters that are not. I think that in the way forward, these kinds of statistical reporting is going to be a feature of the requirement for our annual general report.
I just add, Chairman, I know that the Integrity Commission is also promoting the Protective Disclosure Act, generally referred to as the Whistleblower Act. I must say, looking at the report, over the period, Chairman, there were only 226 complaints from the public. But within departments, within ministries, or within anywhere, persons where they see actual corruption, they must be encouraged to report it to the Integrity Commission, because that's the only way we can ensure that we delete corruption from any administrative or executive action. So I would say, Chairman, that we would want the Integrity Commission to continue to promote the Whistleblower Act so that anyone engaged in corruption will know that they could be exposed from persons working with them. So, in truth, I think it is important that apart from the public, alleging corruption, we should be encouraging public officials, persons who work in ministries, persons who work in departments, who may well see corrupt practice within their department, that it be exposed under the Whistleblower Act. Because that is why you have it known as the Protective Disclosure Act. Yes. It is meant for persons within ministries to try and clean up their ministry, clean up their departments of anyone who is acting corruptly. It is actually in their own interest that their department should be above board.
Member Robinson?
No, Chairman. I mean, I've read the report. It's pretty detailed. I don't have, beyond the question I asked earlier, I don't really have a specific question based on the report, no.
So we can report then that the annual general report has come before us, has been reviewed, but I would love to see a more detailed look at it. And I'm proposing, in fact, members, that the interim report that we would make to Parliament would indicate that we received the report, we reviewed it, and that there will be the need for a deeper look at the report, at which time we may or may not invite the Integrity Commission to attend on the committee. So, and other stakeholders who might be referenced in the report. So I'd like to be sure of your concurrence on that approach, so that today at the sitting we can give an interim report in relation to this to fulfill the requirement for the 30-day response. Very well. Okay, so we have the other reports, and I just wanted to make the point that in relation to these other reports, the committee meets as the reports are referred to it. And so as to clarify any misconception that the committee has not been meeting and is perhaps not doing its job. We have 7 reports that have come to us. We have received them, and we are dealing with them. Over the last, I think, year, to my knowledge, about 12 or 13 reports would have come inclusive of the 7, but only the 7 that have been referred to us. I just wanted that to be very clear. Any comments members have on these reports? Because what we did was to do an executive summary of each of these reports, which we have sent to you, so you could determine whether or not there's any element of it for which there is further information that is required, or further analysis to be done, or any requirement to bring any other party to come to us in order to further investigate the claims made in these reports.
Chairman, you know, I think it's very important that we ask the Clerk of Parliament and the Secretary if someone, one of the legal officers or the legal officer, to assist us until a more formal structure is put in place, to have a look at all these reports that come and, you know, give us either a summary or highlight the issues that, you know, the Oversight Committee should deal with. In other words, Chairman, it would be useful, you know, for maybe the legal officer until we have a more formal structure and we look at how other parliaments have dealt with an oversight body, but until that structure is put in place, that if the legal officer, all these reports that come, that the legal officer could, you know, do a sort of highlighting of issues that she thinks could be discussed by the Oversight Committee or dealt with by the Oversight Committee.
Well, you recall in my opening comment, you weren't here, unfortunately. I did refer to the decision to ask for technical support for the committee, and that we will do immediately. And I even instanced my own former chairmanship of the PAAC when we did just that. And the IDB actually supported us with a technical advisor who served the committee well. In fact, he's still with the PAC to today. And the Oversight Committee is going to have much more work. I can see that. And when you look at 7 reports coming at once, we are likely to have much more, especially that the Integrity Commission does have now the latitude to send a report every day, if needs be, to the Parliament as may be required. So we have to prepare ourselves to be able to investigate properly. And this is why I take very kindly your comment. And in the interim, we perhaps might want to see what legal support we could garner from the Parliament itself to give support to this. So we will definitely pursue that, yes.
See, Chairman, you see, Chairman, if this is done, this Oversight Committee could meet briefly. It doesn't have to meet for 2-3 hours, because once the legal officer or any other technical assistance we get highlight the issues in the report, we could just meet for half an hour to an hour, maybe before Parliament, so that no complaints can be made that the Oversight Committee has not been meeting. And usually we could meet just before Parliament for half an hour, an hour, and deal with the main issues in the reports. That would help.
Absolutely. And recall that this matter came up at the last meeting we had. And in fact, we did ask the Integrity Commission itself to provide us with that kind of support. But we do appreciate that that's very taxing on them. And even in the note that they sent back to us, you know, it was clear that it's a little much to ask. So we definitely have to build the capacity within ourselves to be able to review and properly discuss the elements that are in the report. Any other business? No? So I'd just like to thank the members who were able to be here today with us, despite the, you know, the challenges that we know exist in terms of the time of the year. And we did get apologies for 2 members who are off the island, and of course another who I know is engaged in very important national matters at this time. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate the contribution that each member made, and we're satisfied that the review for this particular set of reports is completed, and we can in fact make an appropriate report to Parliament later on. This meeting is now adjourned.